selling then put a stop to the Santa rally if you argue it's a worry. Let us ask Lee Gallagher, the senior editor at Smart Money Magazine. Robert Maltbie is the portfolio manager at Millennium Asset Management. Terry Keenan, the host of Cash In, and Bulls and Bears host Brenda Butner. Brenda, does it worry you?
The insider selling, no. I think it is one factor in a lot of them, but that whole issue about the options exercises, and also last February there was a huge amount of insider trading, and it was not sustained. So we really have to take a look at November as a month and see how long this goes on. There are so many positive things going on for this market, I think it will be basically overshadowed.
What do you make of it, Terry?
You know, I don't think that the insider selling in of itself is something to worry about, but insiders have not been rushing to buy any time over the last 4 or 5 years. So I do think that perhaps tells you something. No one wants to have too many eggs in one basket in this market at the moment.
All right. Oh, by the way, we're switching to Washington right now. I just want to show you some of the people piling around, Republican and Democratic leaders who have had this sort of idea on how to get the nation's security bill through. Harry Reid, the newly installed minority leader in the Senate. They will possibly be talking to reporters about moving forward on the 9/11 Commission's recommendations to sort of safeguard our nation's security. Well, that issue, does Wall Street care about these powwows?
I think that they care about them more than they care about insider selling. I agree with Terry. I think insider buying is a far stronger indicator of whether you should buy a stock. Just because someone's selling doesn't mean that anything's wrong. They know anything that we don't know. But sure, Wall Street is keeping a big eye right now on what's going on in Washington, of course.
You know, Robert, there's really no way to quantify the amount of insider selling that's options related right now versus just what might be a CEO saying, geez, I'm getting out of Dodge. But how much do you suspect is just that, the getting out of Dodge? I had a nice run up, I'm out of here.
A nominal and normal amount, Neil. I think there's a lot of programs that have been put together of consistent selling by insiders. And we feel that's far outweighed by liquidity factors coming into the market that are bullish. Mutual fund, $20 billion last month. Corporate, M&A, another large number, 30 billion plus, and also share buybacks. Again, very big, outweighing this insider thing. We're solidly bullish.
You're in that camp too, right?
Well, bullish, but one point he does make up about huge equity inflows. People are spending their cash, but you know what they're buying? They're buying foreign mutual funds. It's like at record highs for the last few years, and so that is something that is worrisome. It's the whole issue of playing the dollar, but people really are going out of U.S. stocks.
Do you see that continuing? I mean, that I have seen this shift, and a lot of the hottest funds of the last few weeks have been those either European, Asian type funds that have picked up.
Yeah, I think it will continue, because whenever we've seen this pattern, like we did in 1996, 97, people going into the emerging markets and some of the other foreign markets, it's continued for quite a while. The interesting thing will be whether this time the emerging markets will sell off if the U.S. market sells off, because obviously Americans are buying these stocks as a protection against perhaps the dollar falling or U.S. stocks falling. Typically, that hasn't worked as a good hedge, but it'll be interesting to see if it does this time.
You know, we've had this great Santa rally, whatever you want to call it. Do you see it continuing on the next few weeks ahead?
I do, for sure. I see it continuing through the end of the year and possibly into January. I think a lot of what's fueling this is, you know, there was so much unease before the election, and a lot of this is a big sigh of relief with the markets. You know, people that have been withholding money are putting it back into stocks, and I think that'll continue.
Robert, what if we don't get a security measure through the House and or Senate very soon? That's what this powwow at the White House is all about. We're showing you some of the attendees at this meeting at the White House today. What if nothing comes of their efforts?
Well, maybe in the short term it might put a damper on the market, Neil, but in the intermediate term, we're very bullish. The one thing that might be more of a damper actually right now would be there are 19 IPOs filed into the pipeline. So Wall Street investment banks are looking for Santa Claus before year end. Still, we think there's plenty of money to sop that up.
All right. Guys, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll be monitoring if any of these guys in Washington decide to talk to the press. But we're on top of everything here because we're Fox. That's what we have to do. We just have to be on top of the whole world. That's why we named the show The World. All right. When we come back, who says the Chinese have a problem with Western culture?